Folks, I absolutely hate the hero that we are going to be talking about in today's video, but I decided we're going to still do a full showcase breakdown and testing of this hero to see if the hate is justified or if it's a bit of an exaggeration. So, who am I talking about? Well, that is going to be Carosa, a fusion that we had recently inside the game, so obviously everybody could get her. She's part of the Cursed Cult, so we do definitely have some good Lord units in here to use with her at least. And she seems to be kind of supposedly like a magic damage enhancer, but you can see the highest rating she has is in Gear Dungeon 2 with a 4.2, so people definitely aren't too high on her. And I can't open it in-game right now because I'm not on mobile, but if you look at the video guides section, people aren't even too happy there. So let's go ahead, let's run through her kit, let's test her and see what she's capable of doing. So first of all, she has a talent for every 6 basic attack by the hero in her grimoire. Now, as far as I could see, it's not really clear in her kit what her grimoire was, so I had to look into it a little bit, and apparently the grimoire is like the book she's holding, so the book is like helping her out. The next basic attack summons the Arcane Realm, centering one enemy for 5 seconds. So basically, every 7th attack, you're going to be getting this Arcane Realm, which means that there'll be enemies in the realm will be inflicted with vulnerability magic damage. So magic damage taken plus 25%, and receive 60% AoE damage per second. So she could be pretty decent for some, AoE damage there. Keep in mind, though, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mari, who on her basic, she's going to go ahead and... Actually, sorry, where is it? So yeah, attack triggered icicles inflict slow upon the target for an extended duration. So targets inflicted with slow will receive plus 20% magic damage taken. So it's a 5% difference between the epic and the legendary version of these champions. So far, at least, she's just a Mari, but worse, right? Basic attack deals 120% damage to one enemy. Very baseline multipliers, nothing too special there. We have an overflowing energy passive. When summoning the Arcane Realm in the Arcane stance, has a 35% chance. This is going to book up to a 40, 45, 50% chance to summon one extra Arcane Realm with her grimoire. So essentially just an extra realm that'll inflict that vulnerability if needed, and do the extra 60% AoE magic damage per second. So you're essentially getting 5 pops of like 120% AoE damage if it works. After the hero or her grimoire summon the Arcane Realm, increases the hero's attack by 6% permanently, stacking up to 4 times. So this can be a 5 stack of 7% attack increase, which is very odd percentages. And finally, Esoteric Wisdom increases all mages' damage by 6%, only takes effect when Carosa is in the team. So she doesn't have to be on the field or anything like that. She essentially just has to be in the team. Everybody's damage is going to go up by 6%, which is pretty nice. It's actually a little bit better as well if you build her out inside a specific gear set. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Finally, though, the Arcane Resonance, an interesting ultimate range to be sure, enters the Arcane stance attack plus 55%, which is pretty crazy. When dealing basic attack, her grimoire will attack too. This effect lasts for 15 seconds, right? So nothing too crazy there. Very basic kit, right? All things considered. Let's go ahead and take a look at her awakenings. A1, in the Arcane stance, attack speed plus 120%, or 120 rather. A2, attack plus 300. A3, if the hero summons the Arcane Realm in the Arcane stance, the duration of the stance increases by 3 seconds. Very strong. Probably not game-changing, though. A5, the Arcane Realm's damage per sec is increased by 280%. So definitely nothing too crazy there. In terms of awakenings, if you manage to pull 5 extra copies of her, maybe go ahead and awaken her. Definitely do not use soul stones on her, though, ladies and gentlemen. I'm making that determination before we complete the testing. For the relic, let's go ahead and do the obvious here and throw a maxed out tier of Twilight on her. I just want to essentially get her in the best build possible to show you guys what she is or is not capable of doing, right? So if she can't work in the gear that I'm going to put on her today, she's pretty terrible. Now, she's not fully booked, so keep that in mind. However, we're going to go into the gear. And the one gear set that I want to call out here, so I'm going to go through gear sets first and how you guys should be building her. One thing to consider, though, is morale set. So morale set is a 3-piece set that when on the field, all allies deal 4% bonus damage. Does not stack, right? So you cannot have multiple heroes inside morale set. However, she brings that 6% damage increase to mages. If you then place her on the field when she's in the morale set, everybody is going to do an extra 4% damage. So an extra 4% for your mages too, which could be very, very strong depending on the content you're trying to get through. So Inside, for example, you know, gear raid 1, if you're trying to push there, especially with the new stages that come out, if you're trying to beat 21 or 22 for the first time, right, 21 specifically, this could help you a lot. So having the 6% damage increase for your mages and then having a 4% damage increase for everybody could very well be the difference between you beating the stage or not. So morale set is a very, very strong way to build her. Probably the best set, though, is going to be either Soulbound Arcana or Infernal Roar, right? Shocker. The best damage dealing sets in the entire game are the best sets for her. Wow. Who would have thought? Cataclysm could be decent as well. Basically, any sort of a damage dealing set for the right-hand side. Now, for the left-hand side, you're going to be looking for things like Warlord, Calamity, Annihilating Might, Whirlwind, and then maybe even a Wicked Vengeance, right? So again, your basic damage dealing sets. Nothing too crazy. We're not building her in any, you know, fancy ways. For the artifact, if you don't have a maxed out tier of Twilight, there are some other decent options. So, for example, Unfortunate Skull could work if you're really trying to get the AoE damage from her ability there, her talent. Something like Tome of Horror could work as well if you are running her with Amari, right? So if you're trying to double up on the slows, or double up on the magic damage increase, essentially, right? So those two heroes together could do it pretty effectively, and then Mari's going to slow, and it's going to also then increase her rage regen, which could be pretty good. Apart from that, though, you're probably just looking at something like, you know, for example, a Nightmare Samsara. You could also run her inside, if I even have one, you could run her inside a Keen Wisdom, right, just to increase her attack by a decent amount if you don't have a tier of Twilight. Now, for gear, like I said, we are going to put her into some of the craziest gear I have on my account. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and place her into the Praetus gear. So this is going to give her very good attack speed, okay crit rate, full crit, or crit damage rather, full crit rate, and then very, very good attack as well. Though that being said, I could obviously run her inside the Ingrid gear, which I think I'll do instead, which I have to stop the background fight apparently because I'm fighting inside the new like event dungeon, so we need to end that before we can go ahead and switch that gear. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. We have Carosa, wherever she might be, right here. Let's go ahead and go to gear. Let's go to quick change. Let's put her into the Ingrid gear, and there we go. So now these are going to be the stats that she has. So she has 11,875 attack, very low base stats in all honesty, so 2307 on the base attack. If we look at somebody like an Ingrid, she has a base attack of 6,000, people. 6,000. Carosa has... I didn't even realize until now how bad her base stats are, right? So if we change that gear back to, if we change it back here to our Ingrid, right? So if we find Carosa, wherever the hell she is, keep going down. She's down here somewhere. She doesn't even have much BP because she's so terrible. So on Ingrid, this gives us 24,000 attack, right? Then if we go ahead and go back down all the way to Carosa and switch her over to our Ingrid gear, right? So is what, 24,000 attack is what the gear gave us. So then we compare that and we're now getting 10,000 attack. A 100% attack decrease compared to one of the other mages. Now you might be saying, well, but Gimbear, you know, Ingrid is actually one of the strongest mages in the entire game, so let's not compare her to her, okay? Well, let's take a look at Honora. Honora has 4855, over twice the base attack. We look at Vierna, we have 4331, over twice the base attack. Boreas, same thing. We look at Dahlia, same thing. We look at Venoma, same thing. We look at Nocturne, same thing. You see a theme here? Every other mage has like twice the base attack, right? If we go into epics, for fuck's sakes, Mari has almost the same level of base attack. Greed has more. Vixera has almost double. Navras has almost double. Iona has like double. So unless her AoE damage can come in clutch and just do some absolutely crazy things, she's probably not going to be that good. But we'll give her a fair test here, a fair shake certainly. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to take out basically everybody else here. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring in a Lord. So we're going to bring in... We're not going to deploy the Lord, but I'm just going to bring in my Demi. We're going to bring in Carosa. We're going to bring in Anora. And then we're also going to bring in our Diao Chan, right? And then we do need to bring some healers here just to keep everybody alive. So we'll do you and whatnot. So what we're going to do here, and I'm going to pull out my phone so I can mark this down. We are going to do a damage test, right? So we're going to go into play test. We're going to go to enter. And we're just going to essentially place down Anora, pop her ult whenever it comes up. And then we're going to run the battle until like 4 minutes or so. Let's go to 3:45, so a full minute. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to place Anora here, right? Doesn't really matter where. We're going to get Diao Chan down, inspiration. We're going to place you, and then we're going to place you. And keep in mind, Anora, I believe, does have the Lord inspiration. I think she's part of the same faction. So let's see how much damage the Anora can do. And again, we're going to go ahead and auto-pop the ultimates, so we're going to turn that on, right? Overall statistics here so far, Anora's doing about 3.2 million, right? 3.8. Again, we're going to run this until 3:45 if we can survive the first shield. If we don't survive the first shield, it kind of is what it is. You know, we got the inspiration from the Diao Chan. We're at 6.8. We're about to have the shield come up here, so hopefully we're able to take it down, though, like I say, I have no idea if we're going to be able to. We are nowhere close to the ultimate on Anora, so unfortunately it doesn't look like we'll be able to take the shield out, which means that we're probably cooked when it comes to getting through this phase. Yeah, it's already... Yeah, it's not going to happen. So we will probably die here. But let's see. You never know, right? You never know. We're going to run it. And... boom. We don't survive. So we had 10,673 on the Anora. And there we go. Everybody gets clapped. It is what it is. Now, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing, right? We're going to go ahead and hit complete. We're going to go ahead and go back in here, and all we're going to do this time is we're just going to take out Carosa so she doesn't give that extra damage bonus. That's it, right? So simply just taking out Carosa, no damage bonuses coming in. There's going to be a bit of RNG, obviously, because the Pharisee's coming in here with like his inspiration and whatnot, but it shouldn't really count, considering that we already have the Diao Chan inspo in there. I don't think it'll override it, so there we go. We're going to go ahead and turn the auto ultimates on. We're going to go ahead and run here until we just get down the shield. So, again, 10,673,000 is essentially the number to beat, or the number to try to beat, but we're obviously not going to because, you know, we have less damage coming in now. So we're essentially just going to see what the damage difference is there. So here we have the shield coming up. We now just have to wait until the shield goes all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, and there we go. Everybody dies. So what was the damage difference? Well, the first run we did was 10,673. So we have a difference of like 0.300k. Not a huge difference, to be honest, right? Not a huge difference. So let's go ahead and so that was like 10,333 roughly, right? So let's go ahead and now we're going to do something different. We're going to bring in Carosa and just see what kind of damage she can do on her own, because we had the Anora comparison. So now I'm going to give you a good idea of what kind of damage Carosa can do without any other sort of help in there. And I'm thinking, ladies and gentlemen, it's probably not going to be a lot because of how low her stats are. I can't see her putting out much damage, to be honest, but we're going to give her a fair shake and we're going to see, you know, what's possible here. So let's go ahead and place down Carosa. Again, we're going to get the Diao Chan in here, get all the auto ultimates going on, and then we're going to place down the Pharisee and all that sort of good stuff. So we're going to go ahead and just run this. We're going to wait for the auto ult here from Carosa. So boom, there's the ultimate coming in. She's now, of course, supposedly going to inflict that magic damage taken. There it is. So she is keeping it up pretty consistently. I will give her some credit, right? It doesn't last very long, though, at all. So you definitely need to make sure that she's in, like, crazy strong attack speed gear. Because as you can see now that her ultimate's not up, she's just essentially not going to have the magic resistance down. unless she procs, obviously, her little grimoire that does keep it up. So we're now here at the shield. Let's go ahead and boom, we're doing some more damage to the boss. Nothing too crazy. We're going to wait until the shield itself goes down. So right at the end of the destructive spit here, boom, 7.9 million, right? So nothing too crazy when it comes to the damage. Now you might be thinking, well, Care Bear and Nora did, you know, this, and that. Well, Nora is based on doing AoE damage, right? She's not really a strong single target damage dealer. If we brought in, you know, somebody, a mage specifically that is based around doing very strong single target damage, it would not even be close, right? So if we brought in like a Nocturne, she'd blow her out of the water. Now the final test that we're going to do is we're going to place a Nora. We're going to place Carosa, who has to be closer up actually because her range is fucking terrible. For some reason she has the Eloin range as a DPS unit, but it is what it is. We're going to get the Diao Chan down here, do the inspo. We're going to get the healers in here as well. And then we're just going to let this run. We're going to do auto ults once again. So essentially the number that we're trying to beat from Nora is the 10,673. So we're going to see how effective Carosa is at keeping up those debuffs, obviously. And then also how much those debuffs actually help us do more damage. So I do think that she's going to help us do significantly more damage because obviously, you know, having the magic damage taken by 25% increase is huge, right? So we're going to keep going here until the shield is almost popped. And we are actually able to pop the shield with the combination of the two of them in here. So at a similar point in time, we've done 12,496 instead of the 10,673. The problem is, though, that the one last test we'll show you here is that we can most likely take, and I haven't tested this yet, so this is going to be a bit of a, you know, a bit of a last minute curveball here, but I imagine that we can take our epic equivalent in Mari, bring her in, and probably achieve a similar result. And we're going to try and fact check that currently because Mari is fantastic for keeping these debuffs up. So let's go ahead and place down a Nora. We're going to get the auto ults on. We're going to get Diao Chan down. We're going to get Mari down. Eloin, switch over to the inspo with Diao Chan, which we already did. And then we're going to go ahead and run this until we get past the shield. Now, you can see already that Mari is significantly more consistent with keeping up the debuffs. So there is that initial 5% difference, right? Because Carosa has the 25% extra damage taken, whereas Mari has 20. However, she also gives you a regular physical damage taken plus 20%, which is going to help your fighters and other physical damage dealers, right? We shouldn't be ulting with Mari because that does kind of remove some of her effectiveness, but let's see what we're able to do here. So, you know, Nora is coming in here and absolutely whacking the shit out of the boss as well. Really, the only difference is that obviously Mari's not going to be outputting damage herself, so we may not end up popping the shield. But we'll go ahead here and we'll go boom. We'll go pause. We're very, very close to popping the shield. Still 14 million damage, right? Long story short, from this testing, if you need a magic damage enhancer, just bring Mari into your team. Obviously, if you're in a team where, you know, you have to have, like, you know, 5 or 6 mages. So again, like a gear raid 1, she could definitely help to make the difference for you, right? So when you're running team compositions that are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 heroes that'll benefit from having their damage increased, right? Then you may want to go ahead and bring her in just as kind of somebody you have on the team. But you're certainly not going to be relying on her as a DPS unit. And in all honesty, I wouldn't recommend building her or spending resources on her. Just go ahead, have her on your team as like a base level, like a, you know, a 5-star essentially. Get her promoted up to where she needs to be for her skills to take effect. And then after that, just, you know, it kind of is what it is, right? Like, her damage is not really there, as you've seen. What she does, so she comes in as essentially a damage increaser for your mages, but everybody gets the 3-day login that is going to do that job, but debatably better because she's also enabling the damage for your other heroes as well, which, I mean, early on in the game especially, you're probably not going to have incredibly strong mages that you can rely on to do the damage, so it doesn't make the most sense to focus hardcore on enhancing them. And then later on in the game, you're going to have so much more enhancements coming through other avenues that unless you're really trying to min-max certain content, you're probably not going to benefit from her. So overall, final results, yes, the hate is very much deserved. Carosa absolutely blows chunks. I will not be using her. If I do find a weird strat for her inside Gear Raid 1, though, I'll certainly make a video on it. But that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.